Dr. S.I.F. Philomen Raj, MSc, MPhil PhD, retired Head Department of Physics, Madras Christian College, Tambaram, Chennai. He is presently serving as a guest lecturer in Loyola College, Nungambakkam, Chennai. He has a teaching experience of 35 years in Madras Christian College for UG and PG students. His field of research is nuclear physics, and he has presented about 30 papers in symposia organized by Baba Atomic Research Center, Mumbai. He has guided 50 MPhil students and about 100 MSc students in their projects. He has authored practical physics books for MSc and BSc courses. He is presently engaged in writing a book on nuclear physics for Printers Hall, India.
Welcome to UGC lecture series in physics. We shall continue with nuclear and particle physics. So we have been discussing about types of accelerators. Namely, we started with the Van de Graaff generator, and then linear accelerator, then cyclotron, betatron. So that background you need to have. Now we will go to another type of accelerator, which is synchrocyclotron. As the word says, synchro, there is some synchronization occurring. See, in a cyclotron, what we had is, in a cyclotron, the particles will be moving in a spiral path, and then when it achieves a velocity which is very close to velocity of light, there is mass variation. According to Einstein's relation, we have got as the velocity increases, mass will increase, and that when the mass increases, the magnetic field will not synchronize with that, because the frequency will not synchronize. Therefore, it fails. That is the limitation of the cyclotron. Now here this is also a cyclotron, synchrocyclotron. So that limitation is removed here by changing the magnetic field. So that is the basic principle. Now we will go into theory also, and the next topic we will be discussing is a Large Hadron Collider. So this is a very popular topic. In 2013, we had experiments done in CERN, CERN, CERN. That is a European organization. Different countries are involved in that. India is also part of that, and we have a big accelerator. Now we have studied about different accelerator. This is a very big accelerator. So and therefore the word large comes. So it's a bigger accelerator for a larger energy achievement. And what is that word hadron? Hadron is a particle of high energy. So any particle, if it goes to very high energy, we call it as hadron. Hard, you can remember as hard, it comes from the word hard. So it is hadron is a high energy particle. So in that CERN experiment, European experiment, 2 protons were taken, very large velocity, they travel for 27 kilometers and then they would collide. Just imagine what we have studied about Van de Graaff generator, maybe some 2 meter height, and then linear accelerator, maybe some 3 or maybe some 22 in a laboratory only. Linear accelerator is a lab. So it may be maybe 10 meters. Now this one is 27 kilometers. That is why it is a large hadron, and that is why it is able to achieve such a large velocity, and they will collide. So the 2 particles will collide. So the synchrocyclotron, it is for light and also heavy ions, both for light particles and also heavy ions. When you say light particle, it can be electron, maybe positron, all the light particles. Or if you take heavy ion, it can be even helium, that is alpha particle, or even higher ions like oxygen. When the electrons are removed, it becomes the nucleus of oxygen. So that is a positively charged particle. That ion can also be accelerated. So here, depending on what particle you will be using, the magnetic field will be different. So the magnetic field has to be larger as the particle velocity, particle mass is larger. You have to have a larger magnetic field to make it bend. So the magnetic field, you remember, the magnetic field is meant for steering, bending the particle. If it is a large mass, we have to use a bigger magnet or a stronger magnetic field to bend it. So here principle, synchrocyclotron is a cyclotron. Already we said in cyclotron there is a limitation. So, with supply frequency decreasing as the particle becomes relativistic. So, I will just explain this further. Synchrocyclotron is a cyclotron. In the cyclotron, what was the problem encountered? In the cyclotron, as the particle velocity increases, then mass will increase. Thereby, the frequency has to decrease. If you remember the expression, F will be equal to, on the right side, we will get the mass on the denominator. So, as the velocity increases, mass will increase. Therefore, frequency should decrease. Only when it decreases, the equation will become valid, or it will be synchronized. Therefore, here in the synchrocyclotron, what is in cyclotron, the magnetic field is constant. Here it has to change. So, that is what it has to supply frequency decreasing, because the condition is as the mass increases, the frequency should decrease. So, the supply frequency decreasing as the particle becomes relativistic. This is the idea. So, the construction designed for high energy. Why we say designed for high energy? Already we stated it is for, it can do on principle, it can accelerate light particle and heavy ion. So, if it is a light particle, we are going to use smaller magnetic field. If it is a heavier particle, we are going to use bigger magnetic field. Therefore, the design itself is made big magnetic field, so that it is meant for high energy particle. Low mass particles, already we have got other types. Therefore, the synchrocyclotron is designed only for high energy, which means the magnetic field will be large, designed for high energy. Cyclotron has 2 Ds. Already we have to recollect what we have studied. In a cyclotron, we have got 2D, 2D put very close together with a small gap, 2D. So, this is 1D. In a cyclotron, we will be having another part in this area, we will be having, so that it will become a full circle. So, we have got another part here, another D. So, cyclotron has 2 Ds, but here in synchrocyclotron there is only single D, we have got only single D. There in the cyclotron, when you had the 2 Ds, one D is connected to positive, the other one is connected to negative. That is the 2 terminals of the oscillator. For the oscillator, the 2 terminals are connected to these 2, the frequency, for the frequency RF oscillator. So, when one D is positive, the other is negative. So, when positive and negative, it will be changing. But here it is only single D, single D. Therefore, what we do, one terminal goes to D, the other one is grounded. So, we will get only one. So, the idea will be, there we had 2 Ds, positive, this will become positive, and when it comes back, this will become positive. So, when it takes semicircular path, okay, suppose it is a negative charge particle, or suppose it is a positive charge particle. So, when it comes into the next D, it should be negative, so that it will attract. Then when it takes a semicircular path, when it comes to the next D, this must be negative. So, it will be making a circular path. But here there is only 1 D, 1 D. Therefore, see, the idea is the particle, suppose let us assume it is an electron that we are considering. Suppose it is electron that we are considering, just for principal purpose, any ion, but here we are just considering electron, and the electron, it is injected here. Now, this D, when the D is positive, it will get attracted. So, it will go there. Inside the field, inside there is no change in field. Due to the magnetic field, it will be moving, it will be bent. It comes this way, and again when it comes to the same point where you have put the arrow, when it comes to the same point, this will become again positive. So, it will go there, and when it comes to the point, this will become positive, which means the frequency of a revolution must be equal to the frequency of oscillator. Both must be tallying. Whenever this particle comes here, this must be able to attract it. So, it must be positive. Whenever it comes here, it must be positive. So, they should synchronize. This time taken for this revolution must be equal to time taken for the oscillator to become from positive to again positive, successive oscillations. Now, we will just go further. So, the B is applied perpendicular to the plane of the orbit of the particle. Suppose the synchrocyclotron is placed on the table. The disc is, the D is horizontal, d is horizontal. Magnetic field should be perpendicular. So, the particle is orbiting in a horizontal circle. Magnetic field is vertical, that is it. So, B applied perpendicular to the plane of the orbit of the particle. Now, here we have Lorentz force. So, just to recall, we have got whenever a particle is moving in this direction, horizontal direction, magnetic field is applied, it will take a circular path. That is Lorentz force. That is Lorentz force. So, the particle moving with velocity v with charge q, with charged particle q, when there is a magnetic field, it will be bent. It will be bent. So, that is the force. So, actually, when the particle is moving, it will be bent. So, that what is that? That is actually centripetal force. So, that is the centripetal force which makes the particle to make a circular motion, centripetal force, and that must be balanced by the centrifugal force. The centrifugal force is the particle is moving in a circular path, mass m, velocity is v and radius r. So, that is the centrifugal force. For a stable orbit, centrifugal force and centripetal force should be equal. Centrifugal should be same, then the orbit will be same orbit. So, for stable orbit, this is the condition. This centrifugal force is equal to centripetal force, or that is the Lorentz force. Now, we can just see that V can be cancelled and we can rewrite this expression. So, we can write expression for V. So, this R will go there, M will come there. That will be the next equation. See, velocity is equal to BQR by M. Now, we know that V equal to R omega. We know that V is equal to R omega. What you need to, the velocity is equal to R omega. Here V is a linear velocity, omega is angular velocity. So, V equal to R omega, we write this. That is a basic equation we know, and right side is retained. This R will get cancelled, I will be getting expression for omega. So, omega is equal to BQM. What is this omega? This must be the frequency of the oscillator, in order to match. So, this must be only then it will be in stable orbit. So, this is the expression for omega. Now, we know that omega is equal to 2 pi f. So, I can write the expression for frequency. That will be the next step. See here, that omega is written as 2 pi f. So, 2 pi f equal to BQ by M. So, f we are taking the 2q down, 2 pi down. So, we get this equation 2. This is the condition, this is the frequency. So, if you have that synchrocyclotron and using a magnetic field B, this must be the frequency of the oscillator that you apply. See here, charge, if the charge is, if the mass is larger, B should also be large. When the denominator is large, numerator should also be large, so that the frequency is a constant. So, we get this. So, here this is the frequency of revolution and also the frequency of the oscillator, already we stated. So, it is going around. So, going in the D. So, whenever the particle comes close to the D, that must attract. If it is an electron, that must be a D must be positive, it will attract. Then again it comes here, one circle it takes, whenever it reaches the same point, it should attract. Therefore, the frequency of revolution and frequency of oscillator both should match. Only then the particle, every time when it comes, it is like pulling, it is like a swing. Suppose I got a swing, every time the swing comes here, I am giving a push. Then when it comes here, I am giving a push. So, if I do it in the opposite direction, then the swing will not oscillate. The swing will oscillate only when you are synchronizing. Whenever the swing comes near you, you have to make a small push, then it goes. Second time it will have come with a larger amplitude, you have to make a push. So, you have to synchronize. So, what we are the force that we are giving on the swing, it is the RF oscillator, that is pushing, and the swing, that is the particle moving with some velocity. So, it comes here, so it should synchronize. That synchronization should be important. That is what we say, both are in phase. Only when it is in phase, that swing will go on. Okay, the particle will get accelerated. Now, here as the velocity increases, mass increases, that is from Einstein's relation. There is a relativistic mass variation. There is relativistic time, that is theory of relativity, relativistic time variation and relativistic length variation. So, the mass changes as the velocity increases, mass increases from theory of, that is called relativistic mass variation. Therefore, what happens when the particle goes on every time as it moves, it goes with the larger velocity, mass goes on increasing, velocity increases, mass increases, frequency has to decrease. So, the frequency has to decrease, that is the problem. We have to change the frequency. We have to change, first initially you start with some frequency, then the frequency should decrease as the mass increases. With this idea, we will go to the next one. Rewriting, I can write F is equal to BQ. See, what we do is, we are just multiplying by C squared C squared. The earlier expression is F is equal to BQ by 2 pi m. Now, here what we have done is, we have multiplied and divided by C squared, that is equation 3. Why you are doing that C squared? Because mc squared is the total energy. When it goes to a relativistic region, the total energy is mc squared, and that total energy of the particle will be equal to the kinetic energy of the particle and the rest mass energy. This is rest mass m0. So, the particle when it is rest, this is the energy, and then when it moves, it will have kinetic energy also. So, both together, that will be the total energy. Therefore, this part can be written as mc squared can be written as T plus m0 c squared. See, this mc squared is equal to T plus m0 c squared. So, we are just substituting in equation 3 and we are getting this expression T plus m0 c squared, equation 4. This part is there. Where what is T already we stated, that is kinetic energy. This is the kinetic energy, and m0 c squared is the rest mass energy. This rest mass energy is constant, because proton, if you take proton, it has got one rest mass, electron has got its rest mass, but the kinetic energy goes on increasing. When this energy increases, frequency has to decrease, only then the equation becomes valid, it will synchronize, it will be in phase. Therefore, what you have is, now here at t equal to 0, the earlier expression, if you put t equal to 0, that part goes away. So, bq c squared by that t vanishes, we get m0 c squared, that is the starting point. When the particle is just injected, kinetic energy is 0. Therefore, we are just writing t equal to 0, this is the expression. So, I made t equal to 0, and other extreme t max, one is t equal to 0, other is t max. When the t equal to 0, f is maximum, already we stated that f must be maximum, and when t equal to t max, f is equal to minimum, f minimum is equal to, we get we write the same thing 2 pi instead of t we have written as t max, this is the expression. Now, what is our aim? We want to know in this synchro cyclotron what will be the maximum energy that the particle can attain, what is the energy. So, here we have got the magnetic field is kept constant, q is there, which is charge is constant, this is velocity of light, and the rest mass is constant. So, here this T max, we want to find expression for T max. T max is the energy, and F max and F minimum are the variables, that is the two limits. So, I should know what must be the two limits. So, I can just solve these two equations for T max, that is I have to take this T max this side, you can rewrite this expression and you bring what is the T max, that is only basic arithmetic. So, you can solve this equation and we will just write what is the expression for T max. See, solving 5 and 6, we get T max equal to F max minus F minimum into F max into F minimum into BQC squared by 2 pi. So, initially when you are starting the synchrotron operate, they will have one frequency, and then after some time minimum, the frequency should go to that minimum value, lower value, and when the F max and F minimum, if it is a greater variation, this will be a larger one. F minimum must be small, F max must be large, then you will get kinetic energy will be maximum. So, this is the condition, based on the requirement of energy, they will change the F max and F minimum. So, equation 7 gives the maximum kinetic energy which will be available for a particle in synchrocyclotron. Now, what are the advantages? High energy can be achieved. By this, I have to only decide the frequency, and then high energy can be achieved by this. And here single D, in a cyclotron there were 2 Ds, more of engineering. Now, here it is only single D, therefore, the design is simple and it can achieve larger energy. Now, we have just outlined about Van de Graaff generator, all the different types. Now, we will just keep in mind 2 things. The linear accelerator we had, where we have got tubes, pipes. The particle will be going in this pipe, second pipe, third pipe, fourth pipe. Each pipe will have a length varying, length varying. So, it will be along the straight line, along a straight line the particle will go. Now, the other one is this one, synchrocyclotron. Here the magnetic field is used for bending the particle, like a cyclotron, bending the particle. These 2 you have in mind. Now, we will go to the popular subject LHC, that is a Large Hadron Collider. This collider or the big lab, it is called CERN, CERN, CERN. It is a European organization for nuclear research. The CERN is an abbreviation from the French word, and the meaning is European Organization for Nuclear Research, that is CERN. And where it is? It is in French and Swiss border, and it is a very powerful particle accelerator. We have studied about linear, all types, but this is the most powerful accelerator, and therefore, it is called large because it is going to have a large energy, large. And hadron, hadron means particle with very large energy is called hadron. We got a proton, we increase the energy MeV, then increase the energy to GeV, MeV is 10 power 6 eV. When you go to GeV, 10 power 9 eV, then it is called high energy, it is called hadron. When it goes to GeV, large energy, it is called hadron. And we said about the linear accelerator, maybe in a big lab, maybe 10 meter, 20 meter length it will be, it has to go in a straight line. But here the difference is it is 27 kilometer ring, that is why we have got from one country to other country it passes border. So, 27 kilometer, and 27 kilometer is not in a straight line, it is going to be in a ring shape. Therefore, the idea is it is a modification of linear accelerator. Linear accelerator, linear, it is going to be linear. But here the linear accelerator is bent in a circular form. Therefore, it is a principle is linear accelerator, but it is bent. So, how are you going to bend? Before that, see, we have got what is the aim of this experiment. See, we have got first man wanted to know if you break a material what will happen. Then they found it is made up of molecules. If you break the molecule, what will happen? Then they found that there it can break into atoms. Then if you break the atom, if they remove all the electrons from the atom, what they found is neutron and proton. And the neutron and proton, they are not able to dismantle. They are not able to dismantle further. So, that was the aim. But to dismantle a proton, we require very large energy, very large energy. So, we will just have an idea about that. See, hadron means high energy particles. It is going to be TeV, that is the energy. That is the energy which is achieved first time in the world. So, we have got all that synchrotron, all of them are all in MeV. Now, here we will have a general picture. This is electron volt. 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 joule. So, we got this is in, that is EV basic. And when you say KeV, the K stands for 10 power 3 EV. MEV stands for 10 power 6 EV. Then you got GeV, which is 10 power 9 EV. TeV, 10 power 12 EV. So, here for example, if you take a hydrogen atom, ionization, if you want to hydrogen atom consists of one proton, one electron. So, I have to excite it and remove that electron. What is the energy required? It is 13.6 eV. So, it is in eV. So, all the atomic levels are in eV. Atomic levels are in eV. That is all the visible light that we see. The energy is all in eV. keV, X-ray, we get X-ray energy. X-ray energy is keV, keV. And in a nuclear reactor, the energy produced is MeV. Up to recent years, we had only up to this possible in the world. GeV comes from cosmic radiation, that is particles coming from outside the world, outside the earth, coming from a distant galaxy. Those particles will get accelerated towards any solid body, it gets accelerated towards earth also, and then as they come, they will come with a very large energy. There we find GeV and TeV, that energy. So, these energies we were not able to produce in the lab. Now, this is the first time in 2013, first time we have achieved up to TeV. So, that is the idea. To dismantle, you want to break a proton, energy required is TeV. To break a proton, energy required is this one. Energy required is GeV, and here hadron LHC collider went up to TeV. So, that is the energy, and it is only curiosity. You have the molecule, break the molecule as atom, break the atom, then we will get electrons and protons and neutrons. I want to break the proton and see, that is the idea. To curiosity, and you will see what they found. So, it is called a tevatron because it is TeV. The T stands for tera or a trillion. So, it is a tevatron, large hadron collider in European country. It is called tevatron. LHC is a tevatron. Here particles move in semicircular path, clockwise and anti-clockwise and collide. So, here already stated 27 kilometers. I want to smash and see. So, how they do is, one proton is sent in this direction, and as we say, it is in a linear accelerator, bent linear accelerator. So, it is going there, finally they will smash. So, the two protons will smash. So, that is the idea. With the large TeV energy, they will smash, split up. I want to see what is inside. If you break a proton, what is inside? That is the curiosity of the curiosity with which it was experiment was performed. So, they had proton-proton collision and also proton-lead collision. So, one side is sent proton, other side nucleus of lead, that will also collide. So, smashing protons with almost speed of light. They want to smash the protons with almost speed of light. How do you get this proton? First, initially you need a proton. Electron is stripped from the hydrogen atom. So, hydrogen atom is only proton electron. If the electron is stripped off, hydrogen atom is proton. Hydrogen atom becomes proton. What is remaining is proton. So, this is what they got, the proton, and it accelerated. So, LHC is a linear accelerator plus synchrotron, both together. See here, we have got the particle. If it is a linear accelerator, only radio frequency is required, electrical frequency is required. To bend it, we require magnetic. Here both are there. Therefore, the radio frequency, electric field pushes to P to higher speed. It is a linear accelerator. The linear accelerator is all in bent form. The giant magnetic field will keep the proton on tracks. It has to be on the bent track. Electric field is like a car. See, the electric field is like the accelerator of a car, and the magnetic field is like a steering wheel of the car. So, the magnetic field is like a steering wheel. For strong magnetic field, we require a large current. Therefore, it must be superconducting magnets. When it is superconducting magnet, the temperature has to be very low, minus 271 degrees centigrade. Therefore, they are all used in liquid helium. Liquid helium is used for this. So, the collision smashes the protons to produce and quarks and gluons. If you break a proton, what you get is quarks and gluons, and the probability of hitting is very small. Suppose you take two needles and throw them so that they will hit head on. You have to throw some thousands of needles, then one or two will get it. Similarly, the experiment is being performed continuously, and in 2013 there was an event when two protons smashed. So, the LHC discovered particles with 5 quarks and Higgs boson. We will come to Higgs boson later. For this Higgs boson only, Nobel Prize was given for the CERN experiment. So, we have discussed the principle, construction, working of synchrotron, and we have also outlined about the LHC. So, we can just a few questions we have put, explain the working of synchronous and derive the expression for maximum energy of the particle. And why is liquid helium used in Large Hadron Collider? What are quarks and gluons? So, we shall continue later. Thank you.